Welcome to episode 189 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Hanna.
And I'm Hillary Doherty. Hello.
Hi!
Hello. Hello.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I've missed you so much.
I missed you too.
Yeah, it was weird when I opened the door. I'm like, oh, there she is. There she is.
It's just weird.
Miss America.
Oh my God.
It is weird, but that's what happens when you have a nervous breakdown the day you're supposed to record a podcast.
Hi. Well, and I mean, it was
a combination of things.
A combination, but you know what? Life, man.
Yeah.
Please.
Listen. I think I've been very upfront on here, on Patreon, about like how tough things can be sometimes. And my mental health was at an all-time low. Like, I don't think, I couldn't get off the floor. Like, could not get off the floor. And I usually can like keep it together when I have my kids, especially. Like, I don't want them to see me like that.
Yeah.
But it was just an avalanche of shit. Like everything I was going through.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare, and then that day, it was like I just wanted a simple thing done, and I'm very lucky to be surrounded by people. Like, that is what I've realized the last couple of weeks, is that I am surrounded by the most incredible people, and sometimes you forget that because you're just like moving through life and everything's okay, and then when the shit hits the fan, I have so many people I can call and ask for advice, ask for help, say, please listen to me for a second and tell me if I'm wrong or right here. Like, there's so many people that I have access to because of relationships that I've built through politics and activism, and just in my everyday life, people like you who just will just listen and say everything's going to be okay. And I'm just so grateful for those people this last week. Aww. And so my friend from work came over to help change the light fixture that fell when my roof was getting replaced. And it turned into my house is very old and I love it so much. I love it. It's near and dear to my heart. My children took their first steps in this house. Aww. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's a piece of me. But like me, there's some things that are weird about the house. And it's old, and the way that it was constructed a long time ago, sometimes things are different than what they should be. So the light fixture became a 4-hour debacle, which actually ended up working out, but it sent me into a tailspin after a week-long heartbreak and disaster and disappointment. And
oh my God.
Anyway,
yay.
Thank you to everybody who answered a call or a text
Yay.
this week and helped me. But yeah, I'm grateful that we're here now. Knock on wood, everything's gonna be okay, right?
Knock on wood.
And I apologize to our audience, because I was thinking about, because finally I was just like, it went back and forth if we were gonna record or not. Finally, I'm like, I'm not doing this today. Like, even if you had shown up, I would have been like a zombie on here, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to come on here and just spew my opinion about shit or scream about something and not. I want at some point it to be entertaining. Like, I don't want to come on here and be crying and be a depressed asshole. Like, I don't think people are looking for that. I mean, there's a human side of it, but also I don't want to just put something up to put something up. Right, you know what I mean? Right. Like, forget it.
And you know what was fun? I think for me, like, going back and listening to like clips from that so past episode.
Oh.
And then I had to do the graphics for the episode, and I was like, I don't even remember what my story was. And then I looked at my story from that episode, and I'm like, I don't even remember this story.
I remember it clearly. But then I was like, oh yeah, so like we've done so many stories that forget it.
I forget what we've done sometimes.
I know. It was such a good, I loved that episode so much. But mostly because I was really still drunk.
Oh my God.
When we recorded it. But that Strom Thurmond.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Please.
And your girl was crazy too. But you remember she had that loss. She had lost her son. Like, it was a whole tragic fucking story.
Crazy.
But in the last 2 weeks, so much has happened. And I still have my list of what I wanted to talk about last Saturday, but now I've added on to what has happened in the last week.
It's so much. So
yeah, what do you got?
Okay. I mean, we have to talk about the debates.
Oh my God.
And my husband and I were talking, and like his smile, and I'm going to try to do it. I don't know if I'm capable of making this meme.
Well, you have a heart of gold, so there's probably no way. You're alive inside.
I want to make this meme.
Yes.
And I don't know if anyone's talked about this yet, but when DeSantis was smiling, it was like Bobcat Goldthwait. Remember?
Yes!
You remember he'd be like...
Yes! Goldthwait.
Yeah. That's who it reminded me of.
Absolutely.
Isn't that
awkward,
funny? Except
totally.
like his characters were always, and why was he like they were always like super insecure.
Yeah.
Like, whatever character he was playing.
Oh my God.
And he was in DeSantis.
He was in, what was the one with Bill Murray and the Christmas?
Oh my God, Scrooge. I love Scrooge.
Same thing. His character in that too. Yeah, I love that movie too.
Like he just had this ability to just look the most awkward, and who did it better? Of course, Bobcat.
Yeah.
But
I mean, listen.
There's something weird.
No. It's very obvious, and it's sad because he probably can't. He doesn't even understand. But like, okay, so the memo that leaks from his super PAC was insane, and that it wasn't even really a leak, I guess, because here's the thing:
his notes.
The super PAC can't communicate with the campaign because it's illegal, right? So how they do this is they put their notes up on a random fucking corner of the internet, right? And somebody found it. Because whoever's the campaign, and they came out. But the notes were so fucking awful. Like, my God, could you imagine you're in the public eye and they give you a note that you need to be more likable?
Yeah.
Be likable?
Yeah.
How do you tell a human being that? And also, how do you hear that as a human being and go, what the fuck's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand that you're coming off as weird and awkward and odd.
And he's just such an opportunist. Like, even during that debate where they were, raise your hand for this.
Oh yeah,
I'm
not doing that.
But then it's like, okay, let me look.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Let me feel the room. Let me gauge the temperature. Okay, everyone else, and there's an applause. Okay, yeah, now I'm supporting it. Like, what a loser.
Well, also,
like you can't stand on your own opinion.
Right, because like when Vivek Ramaswamy licked his finger and licked the where's the wind blowing when DeSantis was talking, it's very real because he doesn't.
Guy's a nut shop though.
He is. Oh, the whole stage was full of them. But like, the only time DeSantis sounded like he was very comfortable with what he was talking about was when he was being a bigot. When he talks about critical race theory being banned in K through 12, which, by the way, I really wish we could do some follow up to this debate. There's never been critical race theory in the education system in Florida for K through 12. So he didn't ban anything. Yeah. It's a lie. Then he talked about, there's something else he talked about that was a lie.
Anything has to do with black history or anything other than white history is critical race theory. That's what
he doesn't. They all think. He has an opinion based on what people think and what he thinks will get him to win. And that's why he did all these things he did in the state for the last couple of years, to be able to stand on that stage and say those things. But he doesn't really have an opinion. He knows. Listen, and the other thing, and it kind of got talked over, but they were talking about immigration, and he said this before, and he said it on the stage, that he would shoot these immigrants stone cold dead at the border. His grandparents, this is not a man who's like generations removed from being immigrants, because we're all immigrants, motherfuckers. His grandparents came over. Yeah. These are people he knew in his life came over from Italy. This is not like
their argument is they came over legally. They did the proper
did they?
channels.
We don't know that, by the way. I don't think that that's true about his grandmother. So why are we talking like this? And it's not like it's unheard of. That fucking Texas governor Abbott put up these buoys. And a child and a dad fucking died. They drowned in the river. Like, this is not who we are as Americans. This is not who we're supposed to be. Fix the immigration system. Fix it.
Yeah.
Fucking kids are drowning at the borders, you fucking sick fucks. Children!
Yeah, they don't care.
It's fucking crazy to me.
They
don't
care.
I thought Nikki Haley did an incredible job as far as coming across, calling Trump out, calling out the Trump administration. But if this man is convicted, you do not support him.
No.
That's the other part. Like, we're watching this debate, and the leader of the fucking 30, he's at 30 points ahead, isn't even standing there. So, like, what are we even watching? Watching a bunch of losers talk about shit that is aggravating.
But I was watching or reading about a poll that said that Trump voters trust him more than their family, than their religious leaders. And, like, when you talk about, like, this is a cult, but I was thinking the other day, at least, like, in a cult, like, what are you getting out of it? You know, where's the compound? Like, typically when you're in a cult, there's some kind of offering for you. There's the food, here's the sex, here's the this, here's the that, and we're all kumbaya together. This is a cult leader who's not giving you shit.
But there's also part of being in a cult where you're a part of something.
Right.
It's us versus them. Where they, and like a cult leader, he has built them up for years saying, if I lose, it's been rigged. If, you know what I mean? Like, this is going to happen. He's instilled an inordinate amount of fear into people. And so he has laid the groundwork for this to be a thing. And quite frankly, I'm terrified of the whole thing.
Me too.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, that mugshot is funny as hell to me, but also, like, I still can't believe.
Oh, that a former sitting president?
Yeah, I cannot believe that even happened on election night. That they did, and
the people coming out.
RICO charges because of people. They're all working together for this outcome and breaking the law.
And destroying our democracy.
And these are lawyers.
Destroying our democracy.
Yeah, the whole point was to steal an election.
Forever.
Of course, they should. And trust me.
Really, it's that's treason.
Nobody's bringing charges unless they can convict them. Like, they have enough evidence to convict them. That's it. And trust me, there's enough people there that someone's going to flip. They're going to flip. That's going to be the end of that.
My question is, if we know that if he was in a federal prison and he got elected from jail, he could pardon himself. But if in a state crime, he can't pardon himself.
And neither can the governor there.
Okay, so then what happens? Like, we have a sitting president sitting in jail?
Yeah.
Or, you know, and like, is that allowable? Like, how do you run a country from a jail cell? And if this happens, like, I mean, seriously, because we know this country. We know this country's cuckoo magoo. Yeah. It's very sad to me. The whole thing is very sad to me. You know, and the people supporting him, it's disgusting.
Mike Pence was up there. He sounded like, I literally said out loud, is this 1985? Like, the way he talked about America, and you don't talk about this, and you don't, and we're the greatest, and we've got the hardest working people, and I'm like, what is he selling here? Yeah. It's not true. It's a talking about a time that doesn't exist anymore, especially because people are not taking this sort of bullshit lying down. Like, you're trying to appeal to a patriotism that is not there anymore because of people like Donald Trump, who have pulled that sort of respectability off of the office. It's not like everybody goes, well, the U.S. government's great and the military's great. That's over. That's over because you were in part and parcel, is that right, of this administration. You were part of it. And he kept taking credit, like, during the Trump-Pence administration with the taxes, during the Trump-Pence administration, as if he had anything to do with it.
Please.
This is the man who called you a pussy because you wouldn't not uncertify or not certify the election for him. And this is the man who tried to get you murdered. He tried to he told them to take care of you, to hang you, motherfucker.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
It's wild.
It's crazy. Like, Pence,
the revisionist history of it all.
It is insane to me that they will all bow down. They will all bow down to Trump.
It's the craziest psychological thing I've ever fucking seen. It really, really is. And I feel sorry for the people who live in this country. It's terrifying that that's the best. Like, this is the Republican Party. It's one of two. That's all we got. And this is who we've got at the kids' table.
It's gross.
Like, this is crazy. And the person who's really the leader, who will be the nominee, is Donald Trump. And I thought DeSantis did well. Like, I'm watching it and they're cheering for him, and I was like, oh shit. And then I read everything the next day where people, you know, I'm in Florida. I've seen him in debates. Right. This is the best I've ever seen him in a debate, even though half the shit he said was bullshit. I was like, oh shit, he's pulling this off. And the next day I realized, when I'm reading New York Times articles and everything else,
we're desensitized.
Yeah, that people are like, no, he's not coming across to the nation the way that I think that he would have, right? Which is, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
But the thing that also is crazy to me is that Vivek
oh my God.
Ramaswamy, he's pushing this idea that the voting age should be 25, right? Because they want to silence the youth. And it's wild to me that you're going to ask someone at 18 to be able to serve and die for your country, but they cannot vote for the commander-in-chief that's going to ask that of them.
Right.
Come on.
Which is why they lowered the voting age in the first place. That was the argument. Like, make it 18 because all these kids were like,
we're dying.
You're asking us to go and volunteer to possibly die for this country, and I'm not old enough to vote. That's why they lowered it in the first place.
It doesn't make any sense. And I'm sorry, but you're an adult and you have opinions, and that youth vote should not be squashed. And they are afraid of that Gen Z, and rightfully so.
I have to tell you, the fact that this Vivek Ramaswamy was even on the stage is appalling to me.
He's a disgusting person.
He's like, I know that I'm sure you know these kids in your school. I kept saying he was exactly like this in high school, right? Like, this is the guy who's like, teacher, right? Or like the head of the political debate team in school. Like, he hasn't outgrown that. I don't understand his accent. I don't know what's going on with this the accent that he has is bizarre to me. He sounds like between a game show host and a really bad politician. Like that whole like affect that he has on his voice is fucking weird. He's a bizarre human being. He looks fucking bizarre. He looks like a cartoon character of a human being. And he's a fucking moron.
And he's a presidential candidate.
By the way, he thinks he's serious and he's a fucking joke. I'm sorry, but this is for the highest office in the land. And he thinks climate change is a hoax. He thinks Donald Trump was the greatest president of his time in his lifetime.
Yeah, then why are you running against him?
Yeah, that's what I said. What's he doing there? I wish Chris Christie had been stronger. I like Chris Christie. I wish he had come down harder on him, on Trump.
But they all said that they would do a national abortion ban, didn't they? I thought when they asked that question, they all raised their hand. I'll have to double check that.
I mean, it's I don't think Nikki Haley would do that. You know, she was the only one who's reasonable. Like, we have to come up with a reasonable plan. You can't outright ban abortion.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so 2 weeks ago, you know, there was an article in the Sun Sentinel that I don't see anybody fucking talking about, and I think it's really, really important when you talk about abortion in the state of Florida. What we have here are, they call them maternity deserts. And in Florida, if you're in a certain area, including Broward County, there are so few gynecologist offices in Florida that some people, like Northern Florida, these women, it takes them 2 hours to go see a doctor. Some of them don't have cars; they gotta take a bus. Like,
can you imagine?
So think about the what happens when you can't have access to abortion. Yeah. You're forced to have a pregnancy, and then you have no access to maternity care. Like, at least if you're gonna ban abortion, you should have a gynecologist office on every fucking corner to take care of these women.
But who wants to be a gynecologist in the state of Florida?
Right. That's why there are none. Yeah. That's why there's none of these clinics or anything.
Like, that's the thing that, like, you guys aren't realizing. And, you know, gynecology, guess what, is more than just dealing with pregnancy.
Right. And they say some of the most dangerous times after you have a baby is after you have the baby.
Yes.
And
bleeding.
Yes, and these women where are they going? Yeah. And even in Broward County, to get from one side of the county to the other can take an hour.
Or if you go into early labor and there's some kind of complication and now you're waiting 2 hours to get somewhere.
Yeah, no.
That baby's life.
I just think it's really dangerous, and this is something we need to discuss. We need to talk about, if you're going to force pregnancy, what's the alternative and what are you doing for women in that case?
But they don't care.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, can we please do something about that?
You know,
what the fuck?
This is the biggest attack on women I've ever seen in my life.
Listen, they keep that in that debate, and everything I've listened to, abortion is going to be the issue in this presidential election. And Nikki Haley was the only one up there who was like, y'all better get it together because this is going to be the thing. This is going to be the thing. And you don't need a crystal ball to figure that out. Look what just happened in Ohio. Yeah. Look what just happened. The people want this. The people want it to be safe and legal and available for their loved ones and their friends. That's it. Period. Like, stop it. Stop. DeSantis, and they say that's the thing that they say that's the thing that is tying DeSantis down across the country is that 6-week abortion ban. He thought it was going to make him some hero across the country.
Cares.
And that they're going to hang it.
For the few people here that were screwed over and gerrymandered into voting for you.
They're going to hang it around his neck and he's going to drag it until he's got to drop out of this race. They hung it. Absolutely. Because it's not good. And they bring it up all the time. And listen, in South Carolina...
Oh, God.
The Supreme Court in South Carolina...
all men...
just said that the 6-week abortion ban there stands. And the way they try to fight it is on privacy, which is what they're trying to do in Florida when they go to the Supreme Court. I think we'll find out in September.
Because they do have the right to privacy in their state law, but they upheld that restriction. And it was after the one and only female justice had stepped down or resigned. And so it was, again, all men making a decision about women. This is why we need women to run for office. This is why we need women in law. This is why we need women on the bench.
Well, not all these women are for us.
I know, but...
winos.
Oh, God.
A couple other things that I had was like... where DeSantis stuff, like Florida. So, like, it came out in the paper that the security that the state of Florida taxpayers have spent since in the last year is $9.8 million. We pay for his security while he's on the campaign trail.
It's bullshit.
While he's traveling.
Bullshit. For
the agents that are with him, the Florida Highway Patrol that follows him around or whatever it is, $9.8 million. It's up 54% from the year before. Anybody care about that?
And does
anybody give a fuck?
And does anybody give a shit that you have a governor who is has always been out for himself?
Mm-hmm.
Is, like I said, he's an opportunist. He doesn't give a shit about Florida. All the laws that he does is because he wants to gain airtime. Meanwhile, the property insurance, the wind insurance, is skyrocketing. My parents got their bill. It's almost $6,000 just for the wind, not including the inside. Oh, yeah. It is outrageous. It's outrageous. And car insurance in the state of Florida is the highest in the entire nation.
Yeah.
Because this guy, the insurance companies, right? They got their hands in his pocket. Like he is in bed with the insurance companies. He doesn't care about Floridians and what we are paying and what we're being screwed over for here.
I don't know if you saw this last week, but in Pembroke Pines, which is a city in Broward County, they have a Century Village, which is like an older community, like retirees, like, I don't know, maybe it's 55 and older, 60 or older. It's condos. They have a condo association where they pay their fees, which includes their insurance for their buildings, right? Their homes that are there.
Yeah.
They had a meeting. They were holding a meeting because they were going to increase the HOA fees up to, I think it was $300 to $400 a month. They were going up because of insurance on the buildings.
These are people on a fixed income, and that's why they live there.
They stormed that meeting, banging on the doors. I mean, the crowd of people that were storming this building, screaming about it. And the news cameras were there, and they were outside interviewing people. This one guy's like, I have to sell my house. I got to leave. I can't. This is the kind of this is what we knew was coming.
Right.
Like we knew this was coming.
And how many of them voted? How many of them voted for DeSantis?
Okay, that's that too. But like we also need to be as Democrats making that point.
Right.
Because last week the CFO of Florida, Petronas, wrote an entire op-ed that was in the Sun Sentinel and probably in every paper across the state that was defending what they've been doing for homeowners insurance. And basically, the underlying thing was like, my insurance went up too, we're all in the same boat, as if it's not our fault.
Oh.
So like, and all highlighting all the things that could work, should work, we'll see if it works. It was like all this predicting, maybe this thing will work.
It's not gonna work.
But where's our Democrat response to that? Because that's the second fucking op-ed. Paul Renner, the Speaker of the House last session, also wrote one which was bizarre and outrageous. Why are we not responding to this with real facts and talking to people like the people at that Century Village and putting these motherfuckers on blast? Put those fucking people on a bus and get them to Tallahassee. Because this is fucking crazy town. This is crazy town. But this is the response we needed. But we need to very clearly link that angry mob and what they're pissed off about to what Republicans have done here.
Policy.
And their failure to make these changes. And to and show how much money they've received from insurance companies. Like, we need to make that connection. And I don't mean at a DEC meeting, because I'm very happy we're going all over the state. I don't want to bring it up again, but my God, I saw that Nikki Fried was here last night, excuse me. And it was all, and I love everybody in the meet that went to this because I know them all. But they all know what's happening already. We can't talk to the same people who are already diehard Democrats showing up to see you. That's not who we're supposed to be getting this fucking message to.
Yeah, go to a mall. I don't know.
But
Remember, like in the 80s?
Like, do something else. Hold a sign up on the corner of fucking Federal Highway and Broward Boulevard that says, has your insurance gone up? Here's why. And just write like, DeSantis, Republican. Do something. Link it. Put a fucking website up. Use that $1 million to put a website up that clearly points to how you can show that Republicans have failed to make any difference here. Like, please, this is the thing we have to do. We have to do this. Please, 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 please. I can't do it anymore. We're losing businesses. Another fucking group of people, like 5 or 6 organizations, have canceled their plans to come to Broward County. Well, and like, is anybody gonna ask the one Republican state rep in the county who voted for all this shit? Ask him how he feels that Broward County is losing this money? Can someone get Chip Lamarck on the fucking horn and ask him the question, Sun Sentinel? Like, why aren't you doing that? Link him to the fucking money that's the county is losing. Why aren't you doing that? He voted party lines. He voted for woke, anti-woke bullshit, which is why people aren't coming here. Link Chip Lamarca to Broward County losing money. That's not difficult. Broward Dems, get on the fucking horn with somebody and link those fucking things. This is, anybody paying attention and reads the paper every day can fucking look at this and put a plan together. But the plan isn't to talk to me and Tina about how bad everything is here. We should vote for Democrats. We know. Like, what's the plan to talk to these other people?
Regular Joe on the street.
Because, like what you just said, like, did they vote for DeSantis? Like, that's what I see on Twitter when people go, oh, Florida sucks, and look at my homeowner's insurance, it's crazy. All the comments are, well, who'd you vote for? You guys elected DeSantis. And I always respond to that, and I go, excuse me, I worked very hard for DeSantis not to get elected. I didn't vote for him. Okay? And I'm sorry I live in a state where the party's an epic fucking failure, you know? And can't connect A plus B equals C. Like, I cannot scream that enough. I'm glad she's out there, that she's the face, and that she's putting the Democrats, like, people see her everywhere. But I question again, who is she speaking to? Who is she talking to? Who?
Right. But if we went on this tour, where would you go? Like, how could you set up a more open public event outside of a DEC meeting?
I don't care if there's, like you just said, the mall. Yeah. I don't care if you're handing out pamphlets at the fucking mall.
Right.
I don't care. Do something else. Do something else. Knock on fucking doors. Go to Republican neighborhoods and knock on fucking doors. I don't know.
And the thing that's funny to me with the losing of revenue, because it's not just Broward County, it's across the state. Tampa, Orlando, these big cities are losing revenue because conferences come in, and those are conferences that are those are years out. It's a conference 4 years down the line and 3 years down the line because those spaces fill up quickly, and now part of that revenue for our state is gone. Because why do people want to come to a conference? If you had a choice to go a conference in Miami or Fort Lauderdale versus, Wisconsin, nothing against Wisconsin, but you know what I mean? Come down here in the come here in the winter time. It's beautiful weather. Like, you get it. Like, this is like an absolutely nice place to go. And then instead you have a governor who gets the stupid board on Disney to say employees of Disney Park don't get free passes and fast passes and all that because it's costing the state revenue. When no, that's not what's costing. How much revenue can the state be losing from the guy in the Mickey Mouse costume going on a free ride after work? You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
It's so stupid. The thing that's costing us revenue is everything that Hillary said. It's all of the stupid bills that you put into place. And then you're going to sit there and go, oh, Disney's costing us money? Like, he's so out of touch with what's going on in his state. And he doesn't care because win or lose, DeSantis is going to be fine. His life is going to be fine. His family's going to be fine. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't give a shit. Mm-mm. He'll be some political hack his whole life.
I can't. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't see. And then also when you see on Twitter, someone makes a point and then they put up this is bullshit, this is real. And it's a link to a site that I've never heard of that someone built in their mom's basement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like some weird website, and I'm like, okay, well, they're using these as real sources. Like, how do we combat that? How do you do that? I don't think there's a way to do it.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, I get that would be like a whole ethical issue. Is there some kind of ethical liability for an internet person who's selling you a domain or hosting that you have to have some disclaimer on there that like this isn't verified or this isn't a real news source
Right.
or this, you know what I mean? Something.
They do those. They do that on. I've seen that on Facebook. I've seen that on Twitter.
You know?
Where you can't.
Just
I tried to write the word
and make some
I
website.
tried to write the word boobs in my Instagram story the other day, and it stopped me. And it said something similar to this has been flagged before. Are you sure you want to move forward? And I'm like, what?
I've had that
boobs?
before when I've tried to write things about like, you know, if it's DeSantis like fascist or whatever, like, it gets flagged.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, but
is it getting flagged the other way?
But people can have websites about, you know, people being lizard people and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like all of this can be floating.
Well, that's
out
real.
there.
I mean, let's be honest. Lizard people, of course. I did want to say that. Before I get into that. There was another great article in the paper 2 weeks ago. There's a fairly famous restaurant called Columbia Restaurant. It started in Ybor City in Tampa, and they have other locations. There's one in St. Augustine that I love. Anyway, it's Cuban. It's Cuban food. It's fucking great. Been there forever. I think they opened in like 1902 or something crazy. I don't know, whatever. So the DeSantis E-Verify comes down.
Yeah.
And these guys are Republicans that own this restaurant, this family.
I saw this. This is the best.
The owner, who's like the
Yeah.
grandson of whoever started this whole thing, the business, he's interviewed in there. He voted for DeSantis, thinks he's doing a great job. Then E-Verify happened.
Yeah.
And he had to let go of half of his staff.
Bye.
Some of the people who had been with them for 35 years didn't know they didn't have proper documentation.
Yeah.
Right, couldn't believe that they were, you know, and he told the state, I'm not firing, I'm not letting them go. And they're like, well, we're gonna have to put a $500,000 fine on your business. Yeah. So then he had to let them go.
Yeah.
He tried to fight for them, and then he had to let them go. And he goes, these are people who are grandparents, who are people we have known for 30 years. But
you voted. Here's another thing. Like, what do you think you're voting for?
Right.
What do you think you are voting for when, you know, what is it saying? When someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
DeSantis is very clear about who he is.
Yeah.
And you guys check the box.
He's advocating for an easier way for them to be able to work. Like, what do you mean? Like fixing the immigration system?
Yeah.
Like that part? Is that what you're talking about? I mean, it's just shocking to me, but it's like trying to be a business owner and then also squaring that up with being a Republican and having to, you know, having these sort of fucking horrible policies come down on you. Yeah, it sucks. And it really sucks when you have to look that person in the eye.
Yeah.
Who has made a living and supported their family and their grandchildren, everybody from your business.
And then they have to find somewhere else, and they're not going to be able to get a job elsewhere.
And these are people, when I say that this business cares about their employees, when COVID shut down, they continue to pay their insurance. They paid them salary. They paid them paychecks. They paid kept their medical insurance active, kept their 401ks going. Like this company, this business, Columbia Restaurant, gives a fuck. They really are a family business. This is like, we care about our employees. And during COVID, like, continue to do that. So to think about having to let people go, that's how I feel about my company.
Right.
We're a family. And to think about the fear that someone would feel if we had to start running things or doing something like that. Like, I can't imagine having one of us having to look at an employee and say,
I'm sorry.
Like, it's really insane, but it's fucking wild to me. No, I just think that there's other things that are so much more important, so much more important than this, than e-verifying people who
and if they're
are
working. And they're paying taxes, like they're contributing, like what do you care?
That's what this guy said too.
What do you care?
He said that we pay the taxes, like they pay their taxes. It comes out of their paychecks. Like it's just,
you know,
it's wild to me. It's absolutely wild. I did see Barbie again. Remember I took my daughter and I got to tell you,
like it.
I loved it. I think I finally understood like what was, I think I was too much in my head the first time. It was so fucking funny. It was so funny. And again, Ryan Gosling is like,
Cutie McCute cute.
Oh my God. And I'm obsessed with like watching these videos of him dancing around and singing. It's so fucking funny. Yeah, and I also like Margot Robbie who played Barbie. She was listed as she's a producer of the movie as well. So not only did she get paid to act in the movie,
right,
but she gets points on the back end. And because it's made over $1 billion worldwide, she's in line, like she's to make $55 million from this movie.
Go girl.
Can you believe this?
I love this.
Oh my God.
How
fucking
do I become
amazing.
a producer? Can you tell me your name on this?
Oh my God. I don't know if I could do it. Listen, I'm sitting over here going, this movie isn't good. Like, oh, what the fuck? It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. Anyway, and I was laughing, like my obnoxious laugh the whole time. And my daughter and her friends were in the row in front of us. And so when we were leaving, one of her friends was like, oh my gosh, I just loved hearing that person laugh the whole time. And Pammy looked at me because she knows, my daughter knows it was me. And I was like, because I laugh at like very fun things that other people aren't laughing at. I find funny. Last week we ran into Jaden D'Onofrio, who is a friend of the pod, and I was asking him questions that he was confirming things that I had suspicions about, which is so funny because he's as critical of things as we are.
Yes.
And anyway, I want to say good luck to him because he's going up to FSU.
Yes.
And so good luck to you and everything you do up there.
Be amazing. They're gonna dorm storm all over the place on these college campuses, and I am here for it.
I love that kid. He's such a good kid.
He's a good kid, and you know, I can't wait to see what he does.
Me too.
He is going to do things.
And I feel sorry for these electeds in Tallahassee because this motherfucker's gonna be at your door.
Yeah,
he's gonna be holding you accountable. He goes, "I'll be up there," and I was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna be fine." Jaden's gonna be in Tallahassee, so we'll be all right.
Thank God for Jaden.
Okay, are you ready?
I am.
Woo! So, I haven't read this story in a week, so if I fuck up on some of these lines, I'm sorry. But today, we are talking about conspiracy theories about Adolf Hitler's death.
Ooh, this is fun. I know this. This is the kind of episode I need today.
And then I was doing this and I was like,
because it's a bunch of cuckoo shit.
There's so much cuckoo shit, but also like this is so real even today. Like, you know, people believe things that you're just like, no.
You know, Elvis.
Things don't change. I'll just say that. Things have never changed. So
we've been as fucked up as we've ever been.
I think, and I think we can both agree that Adolf Hitler killed himself, right? Like okay.
In the bunker.
Yeah, so let me just talk about that a little bit.
We know.
First.
We know.
And then we'll talk about how it all started with the conspiracy.
Oh God. it's like, because people can't accept the truth.
And also they
cannot accept the truth.
And it's more fun to, because
imagine if the Donalds, something happens to the Donald, you know they're going to be waiting for him to resurrect or some shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yes. They're going to be like, oh my God, Trump came to me and told me, it's going to be he's the new Messiah for them. Can you imagine all the stories?
I mean, also, didn't you send me that the TikTok or whatever where it showed people, maybe Alfredo had it in his stories. There's a TikTok of men who are 6'3", 215 pounds, which is what he said on Trump's mugshot. And it was like, oh my God, that cute guy who played Thor, Chris Hemsworth. And like it was showing, and
he's not 215
Jason
pounds.
Momoa, like he's showing it, and then it said, it showed Trump at 215. Oh, the generous. I wish they had pulled his hair back so we could see like really what he looks like. Let's see a real mugshot.
one of the memes that I liked for the mugshot was it put Alex from Clockwork Orange, it put Jack Nicholson from The Shining, and then it put who was the other Full Metal Jacket. Oh yeah. I am in a world of shit. That movie's so good. Oh so, God. But it talks about the Kubrick stare, where it's like the stare and the brow and just the way the eyes go, and then they have Trump next to it, like doing, and it's supposed to like show how psychotic someone is. Like, and then there's Trump.
P.S. I mean, is it scarier his mugshot where he's doing that, or the ones where they're just like, and they're like they're smiling, and I'm like, what the fuck are you so happy about?
You're going to jail
for Donald Trump. You put everything on the line for Donald Trump. losing your your
everything,
license to like
your integrity, your soul. You've lost your soul more than anything, and you're smiling about it.
Some wacky shit, man. Wacky.
I imagine all the time, like my grandkids one day, if I have grandkids, sitting in a history class, learning about all of this.
It's wild.
And then them coming to us going, do you remember this? You know what I mean?
But also, like, in what, like, when they put the mugshot, when they put the mugshot up and they're like, this is unprecedented. Like, this, we've never seen a United States president's mugshot, current or former president, ever. Like, it's not a thing. Like, even that first thing, right? Or the first time a president's ever not handed over the reins peacefully, right? And asked for some, or incited an insurrection against the government. Like, how are you still supporting somebody when all of these things are real? And this is a real fucking thing.
And, like a true capitalist, because he, to me, is like the embodiment of everything ugly about capitalism. He already has t-shirts and mugs and everything with the mugshot that says never surrender that he's selling.
Marjorie Taylor Greene put herself in a picture with a mugshot. Like, they're putting themselves in mugshots to support him. They should all be arrested. That's treason. If you're supporting him, you should be fucking arrested.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
You're a sitting elected official. She thinks she's going to be veeped, this nut job.
Listen, I don't know where this goes. I don't know where this ends.
I don't either, but
it's nothing good.
Get the hell out of the country.
But it's nothing good.
Oh, sorry. I mean, we just haven't seen each other for 2 weeks. Okay, just deal.
Calm down.
Did you see that Canada, there was an article about Canada, that Canada is preparing for what they will be doing if Trump or Republicans like become president. You know what I mean? Like, they're thinking about like, what are the relations going to, what is the relationship going to be with our country? Like, you know what I mean? Because you're going to have a fucking insane person in charge of the country again.
I don't think we survive it. And I don't mean I don't mean like us, like we're gonna die. I mean like
the country's gonna burn to Rome is burning. It's burning.
And I know that sounds like an extreme thing, but I'm telling you, watching what's happening, like you can really, it's shocking. It's fucking shocking. And I always think like there aren't that many people who support him, but the way that crowd was cheering about things in that audience, it blows my fucking mind. It blows my mind. And he doesn't go to the debate, which also is like, what kind of a person is this?
Because it's someone who is so goddamn entitled. That he doesn't have to go, and he knows that he doesn't have to go. Oh God, he's so
Adolf Hitler.
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh God, help me.
It's really, I'm scared. I'm not even joking. I'm fucking scared.
Me too.
Like, it's really fucking scary. And I don't remember the last time I watched a Republican debate. Like, it's been years now, right? So, and I knew it would be hard to watch this group of people talk the opposite about how I feel about things and the values that I think are important for America.
It's so vastly different.
Yeah, it's really, and hearing them cheer, it's like, it was really, really, really hard to watch it.
Yeah.
But I also like that we have an insight of like where we're going.
Right.
And I don't think that Trump should be a nominee. And I just can't believe that that's where we are again. I even just sitting here talking about all the things we've talked about for the last few years, I cannot believe it's a possibility that he could be back in the White House. It blows my fucking mind. Like, January 6th should have been the end of this.
Right.
Like, everybody should have really had their eyes open.
And move on.
Yeah.
Repair your party.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I'm all for sparring and going back and forth and how we feel about things and how they feel about things. There should be a very clear-cut way we think about January 6th. And after the January 6th hearings, if you were paying attention, which, God, I hope you were.
They weren't.
You really have to see the connection and how this man and the people around him who refused to say no to him and allowed this behavior to continue, how they are responsible for our government almost being taken over by what I would consider like complete fucking animals. Yeah. Animals. And trying to find people to kill them, elected officials. We have to be better than that. We have to be better than that. And we cannot allow that person to be back in the White House.
And the thing that also scares me is that if he is back in the White House, what is the vengeance going to be? What is it going to be on the people that he feels wronged him? He already really has his cuckoo people putting out public information about the judge. You know what I mean? Like, this is where you say, look, stay out of it. But he doesn't. He encourages violence and violence and violence and violence. You have the person who was flying a flag getting killed because of this rhetoric. It's her own personal place of business that she wants to fly a flag on, and you're going to just condone murder. Like the gap between, we've talked about it so many times, but it is, there is no jumping across the gap between these two parties. It's like the crevice just keeps widening and widening and widening and widening, and we are so far away from each other.
There's things we can do, but there's things that we can do as elected officials or people in the party, as Republicans, that could stop this. Number one,
dial it back.
This all could have ended if anybody surrounding him that day in the White House, Mark Meadows especially, thank God he's arrested for this, but not for January 6th, but for the Georgia stuff. If anybody had just said, no, sir, I'm very sorry to inform you, but the facts are you've lost this election.
Yeah.
If anybody had done that, this never would have happened. January 6th wouldn't have happened. If anybody had the fucking balls to say no, this wouldn't have stopped, but they don't. And we know why. It's the proximity to power. Yep. If Donald Trump loses, what happens to me? It's sick. It's a fucking sickness. And it's the same sickness that everybody that got arrested and has been tried or been charged with these crimes, all the same thing. It's being surrounded and feeling important and feeling some sort of sense of power that you're willing to throw over what we're supposed to hold dear to our hearts in this country. Right. And those are free and fair elections. That's what we're about. And he asked you to question it and to challenge it. And if anybody had said no to him, this would never have happened.
I mean, what could he do? What could he do?
Yeah, he's out.
And cry like a baby?
He's absolutely out.
Let him cry and scream like a baby.
And I would make the same appeal to the Florida legislature. When the Republican majority comes back into session and Ron DeSantis' campaign, knock on wood, is on its last leg, and he's got nowhere else to turn, you don't have to do his bidding anymore. No. He's fucking done. He's a lame duck governor. Don't give him a motherfucking thing. I know you don't like him. I know you don't like him. So stop it. And when he comes to you and asks you to give him a third term, because that's gonna be the
please
rumors.
Don't put that out in the air.
It's gonna be the rumors starting before session.
Please.
Now, how can we change this? They changed many laws for him to be able to cover up his travel expenses.
This has got to be
to run without resigning. They did a lot of things for him. You don't have to do that anymore. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. He's got no power over you. Let him go. I'm begging you for the sake of the state and people who live here. Stop it.
Okay, well, tell me about Hitler.
Oh, fuck, I forgot. Get back into this. Okay. So by late 1944, both the Red Army, which were the Russians, and the Western Allies were advancing into Germany. Recognizing the strength and determination of the Red Army, Hitler decided to use his remaining mobile reserves against the American and British armies, which he perceived as far weaker. With much of Germany in ruins, in January 1945, Hitler spoke on the radio saying, quote, "However grave as the crisis may be at this moment, it will, despite everything, be mastered by our unalterable will," end quote. Acting on his view that Germany's military failures meant it had forfeited its right to survive as a nation, Hitler ordered the destruction of all German industrial infrastructure before it could fall into Allied hands.
Wow.
Minister for Armaments Albert Speer was entrusted with executing this scorched earth policy, but he secretly disobeyed the order, which is awesome. Hitler's hope to negotiate peace with the United States and Britain was encouraged by the death of U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt on April 12, 1945. But contrary to his expectations, this caused no rift among the Allies. So he was hoping that...
Please.
I know. He thought he was going to get out of this. Yeah. Which is what I think about Trump too, right? Your back's up against the wall. He's like, oh, it'll be fine. I'm just going to walk out of here.
With all their damn money. Never.
And let me say something else about Georgia. Thank you.
Thank God.
I want to thank you for the work that you had to do, how hard this is going to be, what you put on the line, knowing that, people are going to be coming after you, doxing you, all those things that they did, that they're possibly going to do. These motherfuckers did not stop. And why? Because it's not okay to do what you did. No. Not in Georgia. God bless.
Please,
God bless you. Because if that had happened in Florida, we would have been like, oh no, everything's fine. Hanging Chad, all right? Yeah. So thank you, Georgia.
Thank God. We got to have a party.
Oh, yeah.
We're throwing a party.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
on April 20th, his 56th birthday, Hitler made his last trip from the Führer bunker, which is where he was living, the shelter, to the surface of the earth. In the ruined garden of the Reich Chancellery, he awarded iron crosses to boy soldiers of the Hitler Youth who were now fighting the Red Army at the front near Berlin.
Wow.
In denial about the dire situation, Hitler placed his hopes on the undermanned and under-equipped Armenblutungssteiner, Steiner, which was an army battalion commanded by Felix Steiner. Hitler ordered Steiner to attack the northern flank of the salient, while the German 9th Army was ordered to attack northward in a pincer attack. During a military conference on April 22nd, Hitler asked about Steiner's offensive. He was told that the attack had not been launched and that the Soviets had entered Berlin. So, like, nobody's listening to him, right? Hitler asked everyone except Wilhelm Keitel, Alfred Jodl, Hans Krebs, and Wilhelm Bergdorf to leave the room, then launched into a tirade against the treachery and incompetence of his commanders, culminating in his declaration for the first time that, quote, everything was lost.
Yay! Thank God.
Yeah. And these people started to see, although they all got tried for these crimes anyway. He announced that he would stay in Berlin until the end and then shoot himself. By April 23rd, the Russians had surrounded Berlin, and Goebbels made a proclamation urging its citizens to defend the city. That same day, Göring sent a telegram from Berchtesgaden arguing that since Hitler was isolated in Berlin, Göring should assume leadership of Germany. Göring set a deadline after which he would consider Hitler incapacitated. Oh. Hitler responded by having Göring arrested. And in his last will and testament on April 29th, he removed Göring from all government positions.
Wow.
As if it matters. You're not in charge anymore, motherfucker.
It's like the desperate desperately
oh,
holding on.
You're not going to follow my order?
Yeah.
I'm removing you from government positions.
Yeah.
You're in a bunker, motherfucker. Amy. On April 28th, Hitler discovered that Himmler, who had left Berlin on April 20th, was trying to negotiate a surrender to the Western Allies. Ooh. He ordered Himmler's arrest and had Hermann Fegelein shot. After midnight on the night of April 28th, Hitler married Eva Braun in a small civil ceremony in the bunker. Later that afternoon. I mean, there's other fish in the sea. Like, you can meet someone else. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to marry.
I mean, get out of the bunker first of all. Just get out of the bunker.
I mean, it's that great joke by Ricky Gervais where he said, you know, the night Hitler dies, he marries Eva Braun. They have a little champagne and a cake in the bunker. They go to bed. They wake up in the morning. He poisons her and shoots himself in the head. Yeah. Say what you will about Hitler. That's a horrible honeymoon.
Oh my God! Imagine that.
Say what you will about Hitler. Oh my God, it's so funny. Okay, so later that afternoon, Hitler was informed that Mussolini had been executed by the Italian resistance movement on the previous day.
Gutted.
Yeah, and dragged.
Disemboweled.
I'm just saying, maybe we can talk about this. I'm just saying, like, we might get to this point in this country. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, history repeats itself sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, this presumably increased his determination to avoid capture. On April 30th, 1945, Soviet troops were within a block or two of the Reich Chancellery when Hitler shot himself in the head and Braun bit into a cyanide capsule. Carrying out Hitler's previous command, their corpses were carried outside to the garden behind the Reich Chancellery, where they were placed in a bomb crater, doused with gas, and set on fire. Grand Admiral Karl Donitz and Joseph Goebbels assumed Hitler's roles as head of state and chancellery respectively, and Berlin surrendered on May 2nd. The remains of Joseph and Magda Goebbels, the 6 Goebbels children,
oh yeah, I remember this,
General Hans Krebs, and Hitler's dogs were buried and exhumed. Hitler and Braun's remains were alleged to have been moved as well, but this is most likely Soviet disinformation. Who starts these rumors?
Right.
There's no evidence that any identifiable remains of Hitler or Braun were, except with the exception of dental bridges, were ever found by the Soviets. While news of Hitler's death spread quickly, a death certificate was not issued until 1956 after a lengthy investigation to collect testimony from 42 witnesses. Wow. Hitler's demise,
that's a long time.
Yeah. Hitler's demise was entered as an assumption of death based on this testimony.
Right, on the people who...
Right, so because they don't have a body and they just have these dental, these what's left of the teeth, then people, okay. So,
and this is like perfect fodder for rumor.
Yeah, especially if you have like...
Even if they have the body, that someone would say that it was fake.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean...
But where is his mustache?
Yeah.
We don't know is his here.
Oh,
He had that little mustache. Where is it? Then that would be the first thing that burned off, you fucking dummy.
Yeah.
I'm arguing with the fake German that I just made up in my head. The narrative that Hitler did not commit suicide but instead escaped Berlin was first presented to the general public by Marshal Georgy Zhukov at a press conference on June 9th, 1945, on orders from Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. That month, 68% of Americans polled thought Hitler was still alive.
That's the same 68% voting for Donald Trump.
That's right! I read that and I go, God damn it, America! God damn it! I mean...
What is wrong with America?
It never changes. Do you understand that the Russians were fucking with us then and the Russians are fucking with us now? Like, my God. Holy shit, dude. 68%. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people. Okay, so by the way, we're fighting over there. We've lost men. Like, this is, let's try to have some positive hopeful, like that he's dead. No, we still think that he's alive. When asked at the Potsdam conference in July 1945 how Hitler had died, Stalin said he was living, quote, in Spain or Argentina.
Oh, I remember the Argentina stuff, the South America.
Yes,
that's where he is.
In July 1945,
Come on. I love it. It's just...
It's so good.
Just throw it out in the universe and see what happens. We'll see what people do with it.
In July 9th, Hillary's living in Florence now.
Oh,
that's good.
Hey, did you hear?
Yeah. Just put that rumor out. And maybe it will come true. Oh. In July 1945, British newspapers repeated comments from a Soviet officer that a charred body discovered by the Soviets was, quote, a very poor double, end quote. American newspapers also repeated dubious quotes, such as that of the Russian garrison commander of Berlin, who claimed that Hitler had, quote, gone into hiding somewhere in Europe, end quote. This disinformation propagated by Stalin's government has been a springboard for various conspiracy theories, despite the official conclusion by Western powers and the consensus of historians that Hitler killed himself on April 30th, 1945. It even caused a minor resurgence.
He was dead.
Yeah.
He was dead.
Yeah. It even caused a minor resurgence in Nazism during the Allied occupation of Germany. In October 1945, France Soir, which was a newspaper, quoted Otto Abetz, Nazi ambassador to France during World War II, as saying that Hitler was not dead. The first detailed investigation by Western powers began that November after Dick White, then head of counterintelligence in the British sector of Berlin, had their agent Hugh Trevor Roper investigate the matter to counter the Soviet claims. So now we're going to investigate because we got to prove that what the Soviets are making up isn't true. Like, we're giving air to this, I kind of feel
air and money.
Yeah.
And time.
Yeah.
And resources.
Yeah.
For bullshit.
Yeah.
That's all we do.
That's
all we do is deal with bullshit. I mean,
I'm tired of it.
I'm tired too.
Fucking bullshit.
Damn it.
The whole world is bullshit.
It is.
The world is bullshit.
I mean,
I can't
even.
I'm watching this show called The Ultimatum on Netflix. It's the second season. It's fucking great.
Is it like a
five couples
show?
No, it's like trashy reality show with that awful Nick Lachey and his awful wife.
Wait, Nick Lachey
from 98 Degrees. He was married to Chicken of the Sea.
Chicken of the Sea.
Okay, that's the name of this episode. That's the name.
I love
that
we could just say Chicken of the Sea and we know exactly.
By the way, my other title I wrote down was Other Fish in the Sea. So something's happening here in the sea.
Oh, shit.
Anyway, I'm watching the show and Ultimatum and young couples in the mid-20s, and either the man or the woman has said, we get married or get the fuck out, right?
God,
which, is so romantic.
Chill out.
I love a good ultimatum. Anyway,
who stays with that?
These dummies. Well, they like to go on TV and be
I get
famous.
it. Like if you're with someone, but
7 years.
Yeah.
No, one of them's been together since they were 16, and they're now 23, and she wants to get married.
No, listen, honey. You gotta go.
And he says no.
First of all, there are other fish in the sea, and you gotta go sow them wild oats before they settle down.
Go get some dick. Tina's telling you, go get dick.
Go sow those oats, girl.
Absolutely.
You have your whole life to be tied down.
Honey, you have no idea.
You want to try on a different pair of shoes and find the right fit.
So speaking of that, that's what I was gonna say. So when I was doing that voice like this, it reminds me of these girls. Like there's a girl on the show who her and her boyfriend, whatever, they meet with her sister like for lunch, and they're talking about their issues and the problems they've been having or whatever. Like he issued the ultimatum, or maybe she issued the ultimatum. I don't remember. Anyway, so the sister goes, "Have you talked about all your problems?" And the girl goes, "Oh yeah, we've talked about everything." Well, yeah, we talked about that. And she goes, "Oh, you know she can't get wet." The sister says it. I'm like, does she know there's a camera over here? What? So apparently this girl can't have an orgasm, right?
Well, because she hasn't found the right person.
Right, and he's trying to have patience with her, but she has no patience for it whatsoever.
Well, maybe because some people are just...
Right, but I think this is the thing, too. She has a real issue with, like, she wants everything to be TikTok video worthy or something, like Instagrammable kind of thing. Like he had set up this whole romantic date where he like put the candles and like into the bedroom with like rose petals and stuff, and she goes, "This isn't like what it looks like on TikTok." And I thought to myself, this is what this world, these girls have known, right? Like these girls who are young now, like this in their 20s, like this early dummies, right? They only know a video of like what romance looks like, what's beauty, what's beautiful, and she's what society would deem like beautiful. She's very thin and like beautiful face, like makeup with the eyelashes, like gorgeous, but she can't come. And like, that's a problem, Tina, sorry. But like, what are we doing? And I think it's because she thinks she has this idea of like...
Of the world?
Yeah.
I guess their TikTok is like when we grew up and looked at fashion magazines and it was like, well, that's what a woman has to be like, and that's how we have to act, or that's how we have to present ourselves.
Maybe.
Now they have these
I just
videos
felt sorry
that
for
they're
her.
Watching all the time. Yeah. And I mean,
I felt bad for her.
I get like the rose petals and candles, but like, I feel like you don't need that to be romantic. Like it's such a like lame cliche. Like
Besides, the whole time I'd be like, is that candle gonna burn my house down? Like that's what I'd be saying the whole time. Although I do like candles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not. This show sounds crazy.
It's fucking crazy. I don't even know how I got there. What was I thinking about? What was I talking about?
What people were focused on? No.
I don't even know.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Do we have to give you a
I just felt bad for her because I thought, and I felt bad for like they lived through this. Yeah. Right? They lived through this is what their reality is. And so
and it's not.
So when she's saying when she can't get there, I thought to myself, well, women have to be we've got to be in that moment. We've got to like men can just right everywhere. We have to we have to feel like there's got to be a thing, I think, right? Like we have to be but her mind is on this goddamn fucking bullshit of like girl, get out of it.
Get out of it. Shut that phone off.
Yeah.
Shut the phone off for 2 days and then call your boyfriend. I mean,
what's gonna happen? I'm gonna tune in on Wednesday when more episodes come out.
Jesus, the girl's gotta relax.
Oh my god. Okay, so this guy from the British intelligence, his findings that Hitler and Braun had died by suicide in Berlin were written in a report in 1946 and published in a book the next year. Regarding the case, Trevor Roper reflected, quote, "The desire to invent legends and fairy tales is greater than the love of truth," end quote. Which is still true. In April 1947, 45% of Americans polled thought Hitler was still alive. So it's going down.
Okay. People have, they found the marbles and put them back in their heads.
Yeah. In 1946, an American miner and Baptist preacher named William Henry Johnson began sending out, this is my favorite, a series of letters under the pen name Führer Number 1.
Oh, come on.
It was completely misspelled. Claiming to be the living Hitler and to have escaped with Braun to Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, that's where he's at. That's where he's at, I'm sure. They're hanging out with Mitch McConnell for all wherever Mitch McConnell
Hello,
is.
I'm your new neighbor.
He's the one that was like whispering in Mitch McConnell's ear to make him the monster
you
that
will
he is
be
today.
the leader of this country. And my German's not good. He alleged that tunnels were being dug to Washington, D.C.
God.
And that he would engage armies, nuclear bombs, and invisible spaceships to take over the universe.
And to please tell me, then the percentage goes up of Americans who believe that Hitler's alive.
I will find the aliens and I will be their friend.
Oh my God.
Through a American spaceship.
Oh my God.
Johnson was able to raise up to $15,000.
No.
Which would have been $140,000 today. Promising lofty incentives to his supporters before being arrested on charges of mail fraud in mid-1956.
How brilliant is this guy?
Is he dumb or is he smart?
No, he pretends to be Hitler. He sends sends out some, puts an ad out in a paper and it's like, send me money. And the idiot Americans, the same ones buying the Never Surrender shirts, are the ones sending money to the Fuhrer. I love it. Yeah. Only in America. Only in America.
I will fly spaceship to alien. Send me money.
Oh my God.
In March 1948, newspapers around the world reported the account of former German Lieutenant Arthur F. Mackinson, who claimed that on May 5th, 1945, during the Soviet bombardment of Berlin, he, Hitler, Braun, and Martin Bormann escaped the Fuhrer bunker in tanks. The group allegedly flew from Tempelhof Airport to Tonder, Denmark, where Hitler gave a speech and took a flight from Braun to the coast.
Because he's just flying around during the war and nobody's detecting it.
Yeah. Okay. In May 1948 issue of the Italian magazine Tempo, author Emil Ludwig wrote that a double could have been cremated in Hitler's place, allowing him to flee by submarine to Argentina, which is again another.
I remember the submarine one. Yeah. That's the story. I felt like it's the most.
Can you imagine the
one that I knew? It's the submarine to South America. Yeah, and he was just like living out his days there.
Meanwhile, we're at war, and you don't think there's every fucking ship
going,
and submarine there.
What is this submarine?
And he's waving out the window like this out the submarine. Bye bye, fish in the sea.
Oh my God.
Presiding judge at the Einsatzvergruben trial at Nuremberg, Michael Musmano, wrote in his 1950 book that such theories were, quote, about as rational as to say that Hitler was carried away by angels, unquote, citing a lack of evidence, the confirmation of Hitler's dental remains, and the fact that Ludwig had expressly ignored the presence of witnesses in the bunker. Like, there's other people that were there, Dodo.
They're like, listen, dude.
From 1951 to 1972, the National Police Gazette, an American tabloid-style magazine, ran a series of stories asserting Hitler's survival. Unproven allegations include that Hitler conceived children with Braun around the late 1930s, that he was actually in prime physical health at the end of World War II, and that he had fled to Antarctica or South America. Oh. Writing for the Gazette, U.S. intelligence officer William F. Heimlich claimed that the blood found on Hitler's sofa did not match his blood type. That was another thing. The blood on the sofa. Following decades of other contradictory reports, in 1968, Soviet journalist Lev Byzmensky released his book called The Death of Adolf Hitler. It includes a reported Soviet autopsy report, which concludes that Hitler died by cyanide poisoning despite no dissection of internal organs and being recorded to confirm his eyewitness accounts to the contrary. So he's making up shit too. Byzmensky claims that the autopsy reports were not released earlier, quote, in case someone might try to slip into the role of the Fuhrer saved by a miracle, end quote. He later admitted that he was acting as a, quote, typical party propagandist, end quote, and intended to lead the reader to the conclusion that a gunshot was a pipe dream or half an invention and that Hitler actually poisoned himself, end quote.
If anybody ever doubts the quote, the pen is mightier than the sword,
Yeah.
Propaganda, all it takes is just someone to say something, someone to write something, and you are altering the mindset of people.
Yeah.
You're causing confusion.
And now today you've got the YouTube and the fucking TikToks and the fucking Twitter, and now think about that.
It's never ending.
Yeah, it's more
never ending.
Propaganda. Yeah. The book's claims have been widely ridiculed by Western historians. In 2020, historian Richard J. Evans wrote, quote, for some time on the far right, it seemed inconceivable that Hitler would have died such a cowardly death. In some cases, the proponents of Hitler's survival have strong links to the neo-Nazi scene or betray anti-Semitic beliefs or are involved with white supremacy organizations in the U.S. that regard Hitler as an inspiration for their activities. Some fringe groups purveying various forms of alternative knowledge, such as occultists or UFO enthusiasts, seem to think that associating their beliefs with Hitler will gain them attention. So in some versions of the survival myth, Hitler's escape was achieved by occult means or involved his traveling to a secret Nazi flying saucer base beneath the Antarctic ice, end quote. Right? Because how
could our leader be this?
Which is why I think Trump too.
He's just a man.
Yeah.
He's just a man.
Right.
You have taken a man and you have turned him into some sort of god that is above you.
Right.
And he's just, as far as Trump, some bloated crybaby
who
throws ketchup on the wall when he doesn't get his way.
Right.
And you're turning him into a messiah.
Right. Which is what you as a lunatic leader, you lay the groundwork of the government is bad, which is what Trump did. And so when the government comes to get him, they can't imagine that this person they idolize would do such a horrible thing, right? And so he already has set up who the enemy is, and it's not him, it's the government that's coming after him. You know? It's the same thing. It's the same fucking thing. He spread this propaganda while he was running the first time. At the end of 1945, Stalin ordered a second commission to investigate Hitler's death, in part to investigate rumors of Hitler's survival that he started. On May 30th, 1946, part of a skull was found, ostensibly in the crater where Hitler's remains had been exhumed.
Oh.
It consists of part of the
occipital?
Yes. And part of the parietal bones.
I only know that because that's like where I get my headaches.
Oh, Tina. The nearly complete left parietal bone has a bullet hole, apparently an exit wound. In 2009, on an episode of History's Mystery Quest, University of Connecticut archaeologist and bone specialist Nick Bellantoni examined the skull fragment, which Soviet officials had believed to be Hitler's. By the way, Bellantoni is also the same archaeologist that I mentioned when I did the vampire. He's the one who brought those. Dug those bones up.
What a cool job in life.
Oh yeah, he looks like a cool guy. Yeah. According to creepy, which is also hot. According to Bellantoni, he said, quote, "The bone seemed very thin for a male, and the sutures where the skull plates come together seemed to correspond to someone under 40, end quote. A small piece detached from the skull was DNA tested, as was blood from Hitler's sofa. The skull was determined to be that of a woman, providing fodder for conspiracy theorists where the blood was confirmed to belong to a male. Neither former Soviet nor Russian officials have claimed the skull was the main piece of evidence, instead citing jawbone fragments and 2 dental bridges found in May 1945. The items were shown to 2 associates of Hitler's personal dentist, Hugo Blaschke, his assistant and longtime dental technician. Could you imagine being the personal dentist of Adolf Hitler?
And open wider. Adolf,
I can't
open wide.
I can't open my mouth more than this.
Oh
all of a sudden, my Adolf Hitler's voice is vampire.
Yeah.
I want to suck your blood, and white people will rule forever.
Oh God.
They confirmed the dental remains were Hitler's and Braun's, as did Blaschke in later statements. In 2017, French forensic pathologist Philippe Charlier confirmed that teeth on one of the jawbone fragments were, quote, "a perfect agreement with an x-ray taken of Hitler in 1944. The investigation of the teeth by the French team, the results of which were reported in the European Journal of Internal Medicine in May 2018, found that the dental remains were definitively Hitler's teeth.
I mean, 2018, we're still having this conversation.
Of course! According to Charlier, quote, "there is no possible doubt our study proves that Hitler died in 1945 in Berlin," end quote. FBI documents
Surprise!
FBI documents declassified by the 1998 Nazi War Crimes Disclosure Act, which began to be released online by the early 2010s, contain a number of alleged sightings of Hitler in Europe, South America, and the United States, some of which assert that he changed his appearance via plastic surgery or by shaving off his toothbrush mustache. By the way, I've got a great picture for our notes. And it's how the FBI is 6 different pictures of what he could look like now. Oh my God, it's so fucking good. So good.
Creepy.
Although some notable individuals speculated that Hitler could have survived, the documents state that the alleged sightings of Hitler could not be verified. British historian Richard J. Evans notes that the FBI was obliged to document such claims no matter how erroneous or deranged they were, while American historian Donald McHale states that their files did not produce any credible indication of Hitler's survival. In spite of the disinformation from Stalin's government and eyewitness discrepancies, the consensus of historians is that Hitler killed himself on April 30th, 1945. So a little bit about this escape to Argentina. A declassified CIA document dated October 3rd, 1955, reported that claims made by self-proclaimed former German SS trooper named Philip Citrione that Hitler was still alive and that he, quote, left Colombia for Argentina around January 1955, end quote. Enclosed with the document was an alleged photograph of Citrione and a person he claimed to be Hitler. On the back of the photo was written Adolf Schlottenmayer.
Oh, come on! He's keeping his first name.
and the year 1954. Yeah, you can't even name a kid Adolf in fucking Germany. It's against the law to name your kid Adolf.
I mean, but it's shortly after the war, and there's some random German named Adolf. People aren't going to question that.
My name is Adolf. I mean Bob Schlottenmayer. The report report also states that neither the contact who reported his conversations with Citrion nor the CIA station was, quote, in a position to give an intelligent evaluation of the information, end quote. The station's chief superiors told him that enormous efforts could be expanded on this matter with remote possibilities of establishing anything concrete, and the investigation was dropped. In 2011, a book, Grey Wolf, The Escape of Adolf Hitler, by British authors Simon Dunstan and Gerard Williams, and the 2014 docudrama film by Williams based on it, suggested that a number of U-boats took certain Nazis and Nazi loot to Argentina, where the Nazis were supported by future President Juan Perón, who, with his wife Evita, had been receiving money from the Nazis for some time. Remember? Don't cry for me, Argentina!
That's Madonna.
Oh, your good times and your bad times. Okay, so good. As reported, received by the FBI stated, as reported claims received by the FBI stated, Hitler allegedly arrived in Argentina, first staying at Hacienda San Ramon, then moved to a Bavarian-style mansion in Analco, a remote and barely accessible spot at the northwest end of Nahuelhupia Lake, close to the Chilean border. Ava Braun's report supposedly left Hitler around 1954.
Oh, come on.
She's like, you know what?
I
can put up
time
with
for me to go.
I can put up with the concentration camps.
Yeah.
I can put up with living in a bunker, but Argentina,
No.
yeah. I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm out.
This is insane. This is insane.
She left Hitler in 1954.
And where'd she go?
And moved to Nejuan with their daughter Ursula.
Oh.
Where Hitler allegedly died in 1962. The book passively asserts that Bormann gave the U.S. Office of Strategic Services stolen art and military secrets in exchange for Hitler's life. This theory of Hitler's flight to Argentina has been dismissed by historians.
Yeah, I mean...
Finally, on the History Channel series Hunting Hitler, which ran from 2015 to 2018, 3 years of this. Investigation.
How many episodes? What?
Investigators cite declassified documents and interview witnesses which allegedly indicate that Hitler escaped from Germany and traveled to South America by U-boat. There are a lot of Nazis in South America. That's a real thing. This Germans...
No. When they were doing like the trials and things like that. And
they were all down there.
Yes.
He and other Nazis then allegedly plotted a Fourth Reich. Such conspiracy theories of survival and escape have been widely dismissed. And that are the conspiracy theories about Adolf Hitler.
I mean, the thing that's so interesting is the lengths that people will go to just straight out lie.
Yeah.
To perpetuate whatever story or thing that they want, or just to disrupt. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just to disrupt things. Because if everyone would have just accepted it, you know, maybe things move on more quickly. But then you start planting these seeds, and you have to think about, why are they doing that? What is the end game like? It's just, people are so curious to me. Yeah. You know, it's like, why? Why are you going to all of these lengths to claim this? And those of you that like really believe it, like what is compelling you to believe something that's so inherently false? Like, I don't think they have anything else going on.
I really think they have nothing else going on. You know, so it's like this exciting idea. And also, like I said about the Trump stuff, it's about being a part of something, right? Being a part of this group that believes something so crazy.
There's a lot of other groups, though, you know?
Yeah.
And I get being a part of it, but I feel like, at least like in some of these other cults that are all bad, they got something out of it. These are just a bunch of yahoos like buying merch and giving this guy money. You know what I mean? Like, part of being in a cult, I thought you get some perks.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
there's some perks. Or, you know, they're like, oh, I'm going to promise you like eternal, you know, life in this whatever land that we're going to, or whatever. We're going to take them by aliens, or who knows? What is the thing? It's weird. I mean, and if there was a Trump compound, where would it be? Ohio? You know, if there was like a Trump cult compound where they all moved to, it'd have to be like Ohio, right?
I have no idea.
Like, where would they go? What state? Ohio, or they come down here? Mar-a-Lago?
I don't know, but like
he's not gonna let them in.
There was this guy in Georgia who was standing outside like the jail, and he was being interviewed by this news person, and he was saying that he had a piece of paper. I don't know. He was filing an injunction against this attorney the attorney general in Georgia for falsely arresting Trump and all this stuff. And I was like, and he's clearly like
Yeah.
He's not a lawyer. He's just like a fan of Trump. He's an idiot. But like, how do you get that wrapped up? Also, it's in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Why aren't you at work? Like, that's what boggles my mind too. Like, don't you have anything else to do? What is the case with this? What is that?
I don't know. Like, I don't think, not everybody has to have something to do, but there are so many things to do. Go learn how to bake some bread. I mean, we've talked about it. Like, bocce. There's things to do in this world. Like, what are you doing? Go find some joy.
Yeah.
You can't be getting joy from all of this hate.
Yeah. Also, if Hunter Biden did something wrong, arrest him, put him in jail.
Nobody gives a shit.
They keep bringing up Hunter Biden in these debates, and I'm like,
cares.
I don't give a fuck. Put him in jail.
Yeah,
I mean, that sucks. Sorry, but what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
You break the law. But that they want to spend all this money on hearings on Hunter Biden, who isn't even an elected official.
Yeah, no, it's whatever. If he did something wrong, he should be tried and convicted and go to jail.
Any elected official.
That doesn't deflect from the fact that the leading candidate in your party tried to overthrow the fucking government. It's fucking wacky.
It's wacky.
And what
it's wacky. Like, something is going on. Go to therapy. Go talk to someone. Take a break, shut your phone off, do something. But also, like, you are, and I can recognize, like, I feel like you and I have like talked shit about Biden so much on this podcast.
Of course.
And I recognize, though, that I really acknowledge that he has done a lot in his time, and he's trying to do things with student loans, and he's doing all that, and I'll support him. But never in a million years will I be decked out in dangling gear for Biden, or in fact any presidential candidate, unless I'm knocking on doors or I'm at an event where I'm like wearing a supportive shirt. What I mean? Like, that's about it.
That's what I was going to say earlier. This is
weird.
Not only could this all have stopped on November 5th or whatever that was, all of this stuff could have stopped, but it could also stop again. And that means every single person on that stage, every single elected Republican, from Ted Cruz to Mitch McConnell to all these guys, if all of them were to say President Trump tried to steal this election and he should be charged with these crimes, the evidence is there. If they would a couple of them said it on the stage. Yeah. But we need all of them to come forward and say, no. Right. We don't do this.
But they're afraid of losing their power. They're afraid of losing money. And they're
not standing for the right reasons.
Yeah, and that's not the reason that you're sitting in office.
Right. That's right.
God damn it. All right, well.
Oh. I guess that's it.
I guess so.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.